Hello everyone. I just want to put this in the beginning of the video that I do impulse buy a fish in this. I do want to point out that this is kind of a problematic behavior because it's a fish. It's alive. It has needs. It eats food. It needs to live in an enclosure. So when you buy a living thing, it's not always good to do it without kind of reading up on what it might want or what it might need, because I find that people severely underestimate the needs of a living animal. So I wasn't planning on getting a betta today, but check out this little guy. He's super cute, so I think I might take him home with me. Look at his little face. Actually, he looks like a... Nah, his fin is too wide. He looks a little like a girl. It needs a heater. It needs a filter. It needs a tank. And I didn't technically impulse buy it because I did have the tank set up already, which you saw in the last video. But I really did just walk into a pet store and buy a fish because I thought it was cute, which is an impulse behavior.
I can't get over how cute you are. Yes, you are. You're so cute.
So I got this little koi betta. I don't generally think that impulse buying fish is a good thing, but because I have those tanks back at home and they're already cycled and they're empty, so I'm gonna go ahead and get this fish. I'm not shaming anyone who has impulse buy fish. It happens. Fish are cute. We love them. But it can make it a lot more difficult on you and more difficult on the fish when you impulse buy fish, because then you have a really steep learning curve and you have to kind of figure out how to take care of this fish, and it makes it more complicated. It's time to get it acclimated to the tanks that I have here. So acclimation is just a way to slowly adjust your fish to the new water conditions and the new temperature. I'm also gonna give it a Paragard bath because it is from a big box store, and often big box stores have all sorts of yucky infections running through them. So this is the tank that we're gonna put it in. Alright, so we're just gonna float it here. How does it float in the water? It's gonna tip. So, look, it's all ready to go out for a swim. Not yet. We gotta warm you up. So there we go. Says, let me out. Let me out. I'm ready. But unfortunately, the temperature difference is really big. And because the temperature difference is really big, we don't really want to shock him or her. It doesn't have a whole lot of distinct characteristics of being either male or female at the moment. It's very small. Possibly male. So we're going to let it sit for about 20 minutes, and then we will very slowly start adding water from the tank into the cup. The initial 20 minutes is just to let the temperature in that cup rise, so that the fish doesn't get dumped into water that is way warmer than the water in the cup is, because that can actually cause quite a bit of shock. But if you look, it's definitely not not a shy fish at all. It's all ready to head out and explore. It's been 20 minutes and we're gonna dump this cup water out, and I'm saving it for a reason. So we're gonna dump that out, and then what we do is we fill up the cup so it's half full of old cup water and half full of new tank water. And then we're going to start the Paragard bath. Now Paragard, there we go. Paragard is another sea chem product. Like I said, it's made up of malachite green and methylene blue. Methylene blue has some properties that help get rid of ammonia. So the reason I saved the water from the cup is so that we can actually test it. Now, like I said, the cups tend to run really high in ammonia, but we can see what the ammonia level is. We can see what the nitrate level is and what the nitrite level is. And that way we can actually kind of tell how much stress the Betta's been in these past few whiles while it's been at the shop. So let's find that out. Let's run those tests now. And I can let you know exactly how toxic the water in the cup was. So we talked about optimum water values or optimum water parameters when I set up my tanks. And so for ammonia, it was 0 ppm. For nitrites, it was 0 ppm. And for nitrates, it was under 20. Now, this is the problematic thing about keeping Bettas in cups like box stores do. This was the ammonia test in the cup. Now, remember how mine was kind of a very pale yellow when I ran it on the tanks? This is a very intense green. So when you look at it like that, it's about 2 ppm of ammonia in the cup with a living fish. And I cannot express how deadly that is. Like, that will kill your fish in days. And the nitrites on mine were very blue. Well, these are kind of like a periwinkle color. So that means that there are nitrites in the water. That's about 0.25 ppm for nitrites. And the nitrates, so here's the thing, they don't have a filter. They don't have beneficial bacteria. So these nitrates, I mean, that's all just crap in the water with the fish. They're not at toxic levels, but I mean, that ammonia, that's probably over 2 ppm. These fish are put in cups and they're not kept in good conditions. They're not meant to survive. Like, if you did water changes, then every day you might be able to keep them in cups. But just, I know that some people who work at box stores really care for their fish. Their box stores are in great conditions. You know, they do water changes every day. But other shops, they just don't. And so there's a really problematic thing with the way chain pet stores sell and keep Bettas, because that's just, it's just nothing can survive that much ammonia for very long. And it's really sad in a lot of ways. So I like to just test my water, but it gives me information. When I test my water, it tells me what the fish has been through and what it's coming out of. So I'm hopeful that doing this Paragard bath can pull some of the ammonia from its system and it will be feeling a little bit better. Sometimes fish have a little bit of trouble figuring out that they're out of a cup, because they've spent their whole lives in these tiny enclosed spaces. So when they get out, they just don't really know what to do. Oh. That's a brine shrimp. I bought some brine shrimp, and the net that I used had some brine shrimp on it when I stuck it in the tank. And it's like they found them. So he's it is scavenging for any leftover brine shrimp. Doing a little explore. Mainly picking to see what's at the bottom. I think I got a couple of vinegar eels in there as well. Look at that. So that winds up my video about Leisel. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. I don't love her any less just because she comes from a box store. That wouldn't be fair on my part. She lacks a little focus in the learning department, but I think we're gonna get there. Please like my video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to my channel if you enjoy listening to me rambling about fish.